Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.
From the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this is The Gateway. It's Friday, April 12th. I'm Jonathan Ahl. A team of behavioral health clinicians is working to bridge the gap in local policing by helping meet the mental and emotional needs in St. Louis.
So our primary job is actually to divert individuals from hospitalization and from the jail and actually get them connected to a more appropriate form of services.
Crisis response leader Felicia Pratt shares more about the purpose of the group and how people can easily recognize them. That's coming up on The Gateway. If abortion rights proponents gather enough signatures to place a legalization initiative on the ballot, Missourians will likely vote on it in November and not during the August primary. St. Louis Public Radio's Jason Rosenbaum explains why.
Some Republicans, like Senate President Pro Tem Caleb Rowden, said it may be easier to vote down a ballot measure undoing the state's abortion ban during the August primary because the electorate may be more GOP-leaning.
If you want to defeat the measure, the best place to do it is in August.
But that may be basically impossible. Unless Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft expedites the signature verification process, his office likely won't determine if an initiative petition makes the ballot until after the August primary. A spokesman for the GOP official says that Ashcroft doesn't plan to speed up the process, which means voters will likely vote on the abortion measure in November if it gets enough signatures. I'm Jason Rosenbaum, St. Louis Public Radio.
In an almost unanimous vote, Missouri senators passed legislation that would ban child marriage in the state. The bill, passed yesterday, raises the minimum age someone can get married in Missouri to 18 with no exceptions. It now goes to the House. Sponsor Senator Holly Rader referenced her own marriage at the age of 15 when the bill was up for debate on the Senate floor.
I can unequivocally say that it's a terrible idea and you're not old enough to make those type of decisions.
Under current Missouri law, minors who are 16 or 17 can get married to someone under 21 in Missouri if they have parental consent. Marriage between a minor and someone 21 or older is also prohibited by state law. People in the St. Louis region who have sickle cell disease can receive prompt pain management care at Barnes Jewish Hospital's new Sickle Cell Treatment Center. The center, which opened this month, will provide IV infusions for patients through doctor referrals. St. Louis Public Radio's Andrea Henderson has more.
Nikia Ingram's stress levels have been high lately, which causes her to have sickle cell crises. She's been in and out of emergency rooms over the past few months. She says she's had to wait hours for pain relief. Ingram is overjoyed that she no longer has to wait for treatment. Her hematologist referred her to the Sickle Cell Treatment Center for pain management, and immediately she received an IV infusion of Dilaudid over a course of 3 hours.
It's scary going into the emergency room and, sitting there, fear of being judged.
Ingram says the treatment center is a lifesaver because the center's nurses have patients' care plans and people with sickle cell no longer have to prove their pain. I'm Andrea Henderson, St. Louis Public Radio.
A new park opens Sunday on the Missouri side of the Chain of Rocks Bridge. It will give cyclists and pedestrians easy access to the 95-year-old bridge after the parking lot was closed for years due to safety concerns in the area. Dallas Adams is a spokesperson for Great Rivers Greenway, which manages the park. She says security was a major concern for visitors to the previous site.
A lot of people's lived experience is that, their cars get broken into. We've had problems with that, and hopefully people feel a lot more safe and feel more comfortable to continue to come back and visit the park once they see the upgrades that we've made.
Security, lighting, and monitored nature paths are some of the park's features. An opening ceremony will include bike riding tours, food trucks, and bands. They're known in St. Louis as the Purple Shirts, and they're working to address the emotional and mental health needs of city residents. St. Louis Public Radio's Lucretia Wembley has more about the team's approach to helping people in crisis.
2024 began with news of falling crime rates, and the city's behavioral health response is looking to move those efforts along.
So a lot of times when you're in the midst of a crisis, you do not remember, hey, can you call the crew? But you can remember the color of their shirts. So a lot of times what those in community will reference them as is the purple shirts.
That's Felicia Spratt, the vice president of BHR's Justice and Crisis Response Team, which launched the new CERT team in November. They might be wearing dark or light purple, and occasionally you'll see them in blue, but there's no mistaking that these people belong to CERT, otherwise known as the Community Centered Crisis Response Team.
So our primary job is actually to divert individuals from hospitalization and from the jail and actually get them connected to a more appropriate form of services.
According to Spratt, the team was created last year after city officials realized police were not needed to handle some lower-level calls for service, like cases of mental health disturbances, domestic situations or disagreements, and general assistance with paying bills. Mike Johnson, a certified peer specialist at Behavioral Health Response, is a member of the team.
The main thing is just always trying to meet the individual where they are, and once you kind of get in and assess the situation, see what kind of barriers are standing in their way, work with them side by side to overcome those barriers.
Spratt says barriers can include struggling to fill out paperwork or navigating mental health episodes.
So a lot of those type of calls are likely calls where the security risk, like, hey, somebody is people that's talking through my vents. A lot of mental health psychoses, a lot of individuals who's experiencing some type of medication concern and they need to go to the hospital.
The team currently comprises about 4 people, and you'll recognize them by their purple shirt color or by the acronym CRU written on it, which stands for Crisis Response Unit. Johnson says people can find him at the Carpenter Library on South Grand.
An individual may become linked up with me. They may just be sitting and run into a park ranger, and the park ranger may inquire about if they need any assistance, or they may be in the middle of a crisis.
The team has engaged and assisted nearly 200 St. Louisans so far this year.
So coming through the library, I will say first and foremost, rental assistance and housing assistance is without a doubt number one. And with that, there is a lot of stuff that comes through on the back end, whether that's assistance with electricity through like a LIHEAP program or Heat Up St. Louis, Cool Down St. Louis, and there's also like cell phones, things of that nature. And right along with that is also a need for shelter.
And the greater need is even more simple.
After shelter and housing assistance, I would say after that would be help with IDs. Straight up, help with IDs is a huge thing because without IDs, you can't get the assistance you need.
Johnson says they also navigate situations of drug addiction.
People, if they're not looking to, abstain from using completely, they're at least looking into harm reduction methods, whether that's using fentanyl testing strips, if that's needle exchanges, and anything else that comes with that.
The CERT team operates 7 days a week and often tags along with members of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. The previous version of the crisis response team helped more than 7,000 people last year. I'm Lucretia Wembley, St. Louis Public Radio.
Our Brian Moline edited that report. The Gateway is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, a member-supported service of the University of Missouri, St. Louis. Music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. I'm Jonathan Ahl, and from the St. Louis Public Radio newsroom, this has been The Gateway.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com